Ready? 1, 2, 3.
How many times have you said, I'll do it tomorrow, and tomorrow never came, right? I think most people have experienced something like that. So if you ever felt like this or you feel like this, I think this video might be worth watching because we're gonna dive deep into this issue and why motivation won't save you. But the good thing is that discipline will. What did you agree?
Yeah, and I think like if you have one thing that you've been putting off because you don't feel like doing it or you want to do it tomorrow, leave it down in the comments. Maybe some people have some insights about it that they've struggled with the same, and it helps you out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if this channel is mainly to keep people accountable as well as ourselves. We're no different to you. So if you have any like situations specifically that you need help with, put the comments down below, and next video will for sure answer them. There's people out there with the same issue. Then maybe you guys can network and find the solution to that issue, right? So, and we'll also be replying to the comments. Yeah, the first point is why motivation is trash.
I think a lot of the time it can get difficult with motivation because it's a fleeting emotion. Like it's the same thing as happiness. You're not always going to be happy and you can't always be motivated. It's impossible. Like sometimes you'll have difficult days and you'll have days where there's no motivation and it feels good in the moment because you have such a burst of energy and adrenaline and want to get things done. But it's going to disappear quick. And it's happened to me. I'm guilty of it. There's been times before I was consistent in the gym, I had little spurts of motivation where I went to the gym for a week and didn't go back. Like after I realized that and noticed that I like generally wanted to change, you had to do the things even when you don't want to do them. I think that's the only way to be successful and take advantage of not motivation but discipline. When you're disciplined, you're going to do the difficult things when they are most difficult.
Yeah, and I think I guess another perspective, which has the same principle that you just said, is it's a feeling, right? So it's something that will last you. I think the average feeling is 90 seconds, right? And then after that, it's gone, right? So you definitely need to look something into something more permanent, right? Not just a feeling. Because remember, feelings go away, no matter what feeling it is. Like an example that I can think of is, and I'm sure a lot of people, I'm sure I have personally, I'm sure a lot of people have. It's like scrolling through TikTok, right?
Yeah.
You're scrolling, you're not doing anything, right? Because you don't have anything planned for the day, and then you see a motivational video, and then that kind of sets something in your mind. You're like, oh, maybe I should go to the gym, and then you end up going to the gym, right? But then tomorrow at the same time, you won't see the same video and you won't go. That's the difference between having or I guess that's the reason why motivation is trash. It's not good if you don't back it up with discipline. But yeah, discipline is the boring, the unsexy part of things that actually make you get it done.
Yeah, and I think for me this month especially, it's been more challenging than other months. It's been difficult because for those of you who don't know, I book meetings with cities to see if they can benefit from our company's product. And it's been a very challenging month because I've been getting meetings and I just haven't been getting them to be quality. Like the qualified meeting is what my commission is based off, which is them agreeing to take a look at the product because they feel like it could be helpful. And it's just been rough because I think half of everything that I booked has just fallen off because I think either misunderstanding or they just weren't the right fit. We just weren't the right fit for them. And it's been unfortunate, and this month it's been especially difficult to keep motivated. Yeah. So I think that's a big point where like I realized I'm not motivated anymore, but I need to do it anyways because the month is not over. And I need to hit my goal no matter what. Or maybe I don't need to hit it, but I need to maximize the opportunity, the possibility of me hitting it because that is my goal.
Exactly. You literally just pinpointed it. So you have to think of it as a temporary thing whenever you're feeling that and looking into ways of like, hey, like how am I going to make this permanent? Like, am I going to stick this into another habit, or what am I going to do to make it permanent, right? I mean, one of the things that I've been through as well this month, I think it's been a rough month, and I might say in sales in general. I think it's because of the season, maybe because it's back to school season.
I've heard about it too. Like summer is usually the most dead season in the industry I'm in.
Yeah, I think so, and I think for my industry as well.
When we were in Allstate, was that also the dead season? Was it summer or was it winter?
I think it was.
Because I know they said it. They mentioned it a few times. I just forgot what it was. It probably looks pretty similar to what we.
I think it is summer.
And it's been.
I think. Yeah. I don't know if I'm right, but I think it is. But yeah, I mean, can you imagine if you only worked when you were motivated? Like, what would that look like, right? I mean, I don't know about. You probably relate to me, but like when I felt like really motivated to actually do something or to do my job, it was like, I want to say it's like less than 10%. So if I only worked, when I felt motivated, then it'd be less than 10% work done, right?
Yeah. I think like my motivation spurts last a few hours, and I'd like to say it's more often than most. I think it happens, if not daily, every other day, but it's still difficult if you're only getting things done half of the time, as opposed to getting things done even when you don't want to. Like, what's the difference? Or let's put it in terms of these hyper gurus that make billions of dollars: Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg. And like, I want to ask you this: what do you feel like their work ethic is? Because from my point of view, I think that they probably get work done. From what I've heard of other people, of podcasts, of social media, they talk about Elon Musk like he literally puts social life on pause for spurts at a time and just works.
Gets down to work.
And I don't think he can be motivated all that time.
I don't think so either. I think they have set up, I think they're really successful because they've been able to implement systems into their everyday life when it comes to everything so that they stay sane, right?
That's a good way to put it, a system.
It's a system. We'll talk about that, a little bit more throughout the pod.
Yeah.
But I think they've gone to a point where they use momentum in their endeavors. What I mean by that is because, and that's actually our next point, is momentum is everything. Because when it comes to momentum, it's like once you're doing the thing that you're doing, it's easier for you to keep doing it versus stopping and then doing it again.
I think in either way, and I know momentum is important, but there's sometimes where you won't have that momentum. Like right now, and I don't know if this is happening for you, but I know we both have pretty rough months. I have no momentum going on for me right now. Like there's nothing, this whole month, it's been absolute garbage and I have no momentum this second. I know that we just have to keep doing it. We just have to do it anyways and find that discipline regardless of momentum. Going back into that and going into the topic of momentum, if you have it, take advantage of it because it's important. And momentum is going to push you further. If you already stayed disciplined, and I saw this when I started going to the gym consistently, I noticed that after the first 3 months were the most difficult for me to stay consistent. And I don't know what your experience was, but for me, after the first 3 months, it just kind of snowballed it. It became a habit as opposed to being disciplined.
I mean, let me ask you a question. Compare your first 3 months to your 3 to 6 months period, right? Which one was easier?
I think the 3 to 6 months, that was easier to stay consistent because, and I think this is very important, and I want to make a big emphasis on this. It's not discipline anymore, it's habit.
Exactly.
And that's just a better form of discipline.
Or way better.
Not better, but it's easier for you to follow through. It's like the same thing with diet.
I would say it's the same thing, right? Because you're disciplined to keep following the habit, even though it's...
But you're not thinking about it anymore.
Exactly.
I think a habit...
So it's like both.
I think a habit is very much conscious.
Exactly.
And no, backwards.
Unconscious.
A habit is very much unconscious or subconscious, and a discipline is conscious. Like you're like, I don't want to, but I need. Like,
Shout out to Atomic Habits.
Yeah, I haven't read that book, but I've heard it's pretty good. But going from discipline into habit, your brain is like, I'm not thinking if I want to or not. I'm just kind of doing it out of straight muscle memory. So I think that's a good way to position how momentum and having discipline can be beneficial.
I think it's one sharing like a personal experience on how
I was gonna ask you
that
about
helped
that.
me. I would say I think it was with, I want to say like sales. Yeah, I want to say sales because sales is like what has taught me a lot. It's hard to keep dialing after you get so many no's, right? So it's the rejection. But if you make it a habit, when you get a no, you mentally clear from it and then go into the next call. It's like you're starting fresh. So it's like you're right, going
And
at
for
it,
us, it's
going
very
at it.
difficult because having a bad call can be discouraging. And I've realized in the past few weeks, there's been times, and I think I mentioned this in another podcast. There was one day where I had a pretty bad day, like all morning. And then I ran into a call and it was a really bad call. I had no interest. Guy was kind of rude a little bit, but I suffered for like 5 minutes and I was like, what am I gonna do about it? Like, I need to keep dialing, and maybe the next guy that answers is the one that really needs what I'm offering, or the person that I can really help, and this one just wasn't it. So I just picked up the phone again, started dialing, and lo and behold, I got a quality conversation that resulted in the result I was hoping for.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the main difference between people who make progress in their 20s versus people who stay stuck, right? I mean, one group acts no matter what they're feeling versus the other group is their actions are based on their emotions.
Yeah.
So you got group A who works when they don't feel like it versus group B who works whenever they feel like it, and that can lead to a lot of errors in their life, right? A lot of misfortune in their life.
I think missed opportunities is
Or
the
missed
best way to put it,
opportunities.
because when you're disciplined, yes, you have more normal events happening, but you are all like, at the same time, you also become more prone to really lucky events. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
The
And
long-
what I meant by that is like,
Yeah.
what if you're like, you only go to work when you feel like it, then you're eventually going to get fired.
Yeah.
So that would be a misfortune. But opportunities is a better way of saying it. It's like, what if you did show up every single day and one day your manager quit and you're actually next in line? That's an opportunity. But if you're missing every single day or whenever you feel like it, then the opportunity is not going to be there, right?
And here's what I was thinking too. I try to make as many dials as I can every day. There was one day where I booked 5 meetings, the best day I've ever had at work. And the result of that was like the fact that me wanting to keep going was what resulted in that. Because if that day I had stopped short, like a few dials in the morning, I made a bunch of dials in the morning, and I was like, I need to keep going, because if I was like, hey, I did my one for the day, I don't have to work the rest of the day. I would have missed out on 4 different opportunities.
Exactly.
So I think that was very much luck. I just talked to the right people at the right time.
And that's why momentum is everything. Like once you build up the habit to where you can continue discipline, stay consistent with it. So the momentum makes it a little bit easier, but it also makes it to where it's something permanent and it's not just there. It actually helps you keep everything together. And I mean, how you actually keep the momentum, and that's actually our next point. Our third point is how to actually do it. What are some tactics that you've used to keep the momentum going? And
I think
whether it's relationships, gym, or work, whatever.
I think for me, it's very
The general thing.
mental, like putting it in a black and white perspective, and realizing that yes, this is a shitty situation I'm in. I have 2 options. I can either give up, let it go, throw in the towel, get nothing from it, have all the effort that I made earlier be wasted. Or option B is keep going and hope you get to, or not hope, but plan to get to the goal anyways, no matter how difficult it is. I think the difference is day and night, because one has 0% chance of success, and anything above 0% is infinite times better.
Exactly that. And One of my favorite ways to make sure I keep the momentum going is stacking habits on top of habits. Basically, if let's say every day after work I drink a glass of water, right? I want to stack. I already have that habit built, so easier way for me to be able to go to the gym is every time I drink water, I put on my gym clothes and I go to the gym. So now every time I leave work, I drink a glass of water, my brain automatically will act on, hey, like, oh, the thought will pop up in your mind, right? It's gonna be like, hey, oh, I did this yesterday.
Gotta do this today.
I gotta do this today. So then you do it. Eventually, you do it so many times, it becomes a habit. And that's why I shout out to Atomic Habits. It says that stack habits on top of each other because that's the easiest way for you to stick with a new habit is stacking it on top of another habit. You really need to read that book, bro. It's a good, really good book. And to all people out there, yeah, it goes deep into habits. Yeah, I mean, another thing or another way that you can make sure that you stick with it is accountability. I think that's one of the main ones because accountability will keep you accountable. I think we do a pretty good job at that, like with the podcast.
Not just that, but
I think there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think Google Calendar for us is the best
Google
thing.
Calendar, having a friend, writing it down. I know that some people like writing it down. I used to be like that anymore, where I would like if I wrote this thing down, I have to do it no matter what. And I have to stick to that. So that was one. That's another way. What are some other ways that you think you can basically keep accountability?
I think I wanted to touch on accountability with a friend because that's I think that's worked awesome for us. Like there's been times where I don't want to sit down and record the podcast. But since we have to do it, we have it scheduled, you're ready to do it. We kind of have to do it anyway.
It has to be done.
I think, and yeah, today we had a really good session in the morning about AI and learning about that, so I want to make an episode on that.
We'll make a video on that.
But it's exciting when we learn stuff and have little learn sessions before doing the podcast because I think this was one of the most productive ones. Like when we were reading Think and Grow Rich, I think that was a really good book session, and we hopped on Discord, we read it out loud, and we learned a lot. I personally learned a lot.
Yeah.
I think I had already read those few chapters, but going back through it, it just kind of made it stick better and make me grasp points I had missed originally.
Exactly. And accountability is great when you have it with a friend, or I'm trying to appeal to the general, but let's say that you're at work and you want to do specific goal that you want to achieve. What you do is you tell somebody else about it, and the likelihood of you achieving that goal is going to be higher versus if you just kept that goal within yourself. So if you tell your manager, hey, I'm going to hit this goal, even if it's 1% more likelihood that you'll hit it, it's still better than not having it.
That's something that I do too. I go up to, I'll like slap my manager on, hey, I owe you this many meetings today. And he's like, you don't owe me anything. You owe yourself those meetings, bro.
Yeah. But deep in their mind, they're like, well, I hope he achieves that. And you know that as a person subconsciously, so you want to hit it. So that's why even 1% is better than 0%. And not just with work. I mean, even with relationships. If you feel like you want to reach a specific goal with your partner, you tell them about it so that your more likelihood or the likelihood of you hitting it is higher, right? So keeping accountability is one of the biggest ones. Another tactic that a lot of people use is basically rewarding yourself, right? So every time you finish the thing or you don't watch Netflix and instead doing something more productive or whatever you do, right? That you achieve. When you achieve that goal, you can reward yourself by, I don't know, I've heard a lot of things in terms of rewarding. Like how I reward myself sometimes when I've had a like a stressful day at work, but it was a successful day, stressful but successful, then I'll be like, you know what, I deserve maybe 20 minutes in Rocket League, or maybe 30 minutes in FIFA, like kind of reward yourself for doing the job. Of course, don't spend like an extra 5 hours just gaming, because then
it's happened to me. That's why I don't turn
you gotta have control of yourself, like
I can
Good.
hyper focus a lot, and it's really good for work when I'm working.
Yeah.
But it's also really bad when I start doing stuff
Yeah.
like that. That's why I haven't. I think I had this like 3 month spurt where I was playing a lot of video games, and I stopped, and I'll go on like really long spurts where I don't play because I don't pick it up. I think last time when when we were working in Allstate, I had been like a year or two without touching my console.
There you go.
Which was crazy for me. I also wanted to touch on an example of a time that I was held accountable that was like, it's pretty good proof that this works. At work, one of the times that I told my boss, I was like, hey, I need to make this many calls tomorrow. I'm going to make calls. That's how I'm going to fix this bad day that I had today. The day after, I was kind of unmotivated. I was going slow. I had like eight calls by the second hour of work. And he was like, hey, you have this many calls? And I was like, yeah, it's a slow day today. I've just been slow. I don't know why, but thanks for letting me know. And he was like, hey, you were preaching about making calls yesterday. And I was like, you know what, you're right. And then that was a really good accountability moment because it helped me realize that I was not doing my best. And it helped me start doing my best. I ended the day with like 50 to 60 calls.
Yeah, and that's why telling a friend is super helpful because they can customize the accountability towards you and what your goals are. And yeah, I mean, touching back to the rewarding yourself, it doesn't necessarily have to be video games, but it can be anything, right? Anything that you like. If it's, I don't know, even if it's
like a snack or maybe eating out, like something that's not too unhealthy,
or watching a movie, whatever, Netflix, whatever it is, like. You make sure you do it after you hit the goal, not before.
Chipotle sounds like a pretty good reward.
I think that's gonna be our goal today, actually. Or how we reward ourselves. But I mean, literally, ask yourself what happens if I don't hit this, right? Picture yourself not hitting it, and that should be another tool that you can use to pretty much leverage the motivation that you need. Motivation, right? Because motivation is not good. It's basically to get the discipline that you need, but that might be a great tool for you.
I think the biggest deterrent of not doing something is, what is it costing you to sit in bed watching shows for 3 hours? Is it costing you nothing? Is it just costing you time, or is it actually costing you the dream that you have, or the goal, or the business that you want to make? For me, a lot of the times I'll be thinking, hey, if I don't do this, I could lose the house, or I could be in debt forever and never get out of it. Or if I don't do this, I'll never be able to help out my family. I think those are pretty good examples of that. But like going into that, like nobody feels like brushing their teeth, but you either do it or your breath's going to smell.
Exactly. That's a really good point. It's like, imagine you basically have the ability to brush your teeth, right? If you choose not to, then your breath is gonna stink, right? Same thing with touching what you said is, if I don't work, then I'm gonna be broke. If you don't want to be broke, then work, right? And you just gotta figure out a way to do it every single day.
And this is something that I learned at work. It's called consequence-based questioning, and I think I knew a little bit about it before, but it really was drilled into my brain here at work. Ask yourself the consequence-based questions that I would ask to a prospect. Like, how does it impact you when you don't accomplish the goal that you set for? How does it impact you?
Yeah, some of the tools I use for that is, for example, when I use this like every day after work. What I do is I ask myself some questions, right? So one of them is, did you let your brain control you? What that means is basically asking myself, hey, did you let your brain control you by distracting yourself with something else that's outside of work? Maybe like a game. If you're into sports, like maybe a game you were thinking about, or if you have a partner, like how that partner is making you feel, whatever, or something else, right? I have a specific set of questions I ask myself, right? And that's one of them. Another one is basically, let me take a look here. you tried hard. Did you die by trying? You know, how did that make you feel? I basically asked myself, like, how did I feel by trying hard? Do I feel successful? Do I feel kind of bad? Do I feel tired? Do I feel great? Do I feel down? So I asked myself those probing questions, and I mean, it's so that at the end of the day, I realize I'm still good, you know, and I gave my best effort, and I'm still good. I don't feel tired. I'm good to go for the next day. So I set myself up for next day success, basically. I don't know if you can use any of those types of questions yourself in your life. I don't know.
I think for me, it's a lot of like consequence-based questioning, like what happens if you don't do this thing, or what happens if you don't reach your goal, or if you can't help your family. And that's a pretty good deterrent, not getting things done. Because there's obviously always times where I don't want to do things, but sometimes you just have to if you want to get to your goals, to the place you want to be at. But if you only do things when they're easy, life's probably going to get pretty hard, ironically. And the other way around, if you only do the hard things in life, things are probably going to get pretty easy for you. There's reward in doing the things that other people don't want to do.
Yeah, that's literally it. And just asking yourself those type of questions will reframe your way of thinking into one that is advantageous to your goals. I think it's the best way I could describe the self-questions tactics. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I think we pretty much hit the points that we had to get across, and I think they're very useful. If you're able to apply them to your everyday life, you will 100% be more successful than what you are today, even if it's by 1%.
Yeah.
Even 1% works. Even 0.5% is still progress. As long as you're still making progress, it will stack up in the future. But do you have anything else that you want to add to the video?
Just for anyone who's watching this, to set a goal for yourself. If you have something that you've been putting off, no matter how big or small, set this goal to do it tomorrow. Or if it can't be done tomorrow, do it this week. But get it done, prove to yourself that you can do it, because only when you start believing in the things you say, you'll start to do them and you won't doubt yourself anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you'll never feel like you're always ready, but if you show up anyways when things are difficult, that's how you're going to end up winning.
You still won, even if you show up. So yeah, 100%. And yeah, last thing I want to say is if you have any particular issue that you maybe are stuck with and you don't know what to do, go ahead and leave a comment, and as soon as we see it, we'll be able to help you out with it. And we want to also start, like, when we get more comments, we want to start putting them in the next video so we can feature them and then see if we can help out the person or get insights from us and so on. Yeah, what's a good like a good call to action right now that they could probably do?
I think that setting a goal, taking something that you've been putting off and getting it done, looking into it, having it done by this week.
Yeah. So if you have something that you haven't been putting it off, do it now. Your life won't be worse. It'll be better.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was pretty much it from us. Other than that, we'll catch you guys next week.
Please like the video, comment, and sub, and share it if you know someone that's struggling. But yeah, other than that, may yourself have a wonderful rest of your week, and until next week.
Until next week.
Bye.